think about it, the only similarities between the book and the movie are really just a family of three go insane caretaking a hotel for the winter. Other than that, Kubrick has stripped away all of Stephen King's nonsense and hokiness and really made a gothic horror film that is probably one of the most famous films of all time. There's many ways to see this movie. You can watch it for what it is, but it's one of the most analyzed films since 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm not going to talk about Kubrick's intentional subtext, the Gold Federal Reserve, or the American Indian Genocide, but I'm going to talk about some Easter eggs he put in there that not a lot of people know about, and I hope you find it interesting, because I do. The famous interview scene with Stuart Ullman in the beginning of the movie. Notice this red book that's right in the middle of the shot, that's standing out like a sore thumb. What is this red book? Well, on the binding it says the red book. Well, what's the red book? This is the red book, and when you find out what's in it, you'll be surprised. The red book is a manuscript by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung. It recounts his psychological experiments between 1913 and 1916. What's more, it documents what happens when one of the world's premier psychoanalysts lost his soul, according to some accounts. When Jack's on his interview back in Boulder, Colorado, Danny's watching Bugs Bunny cartoons, and Wendy's reading a book. What book is she reading? Well, she's reading A Catcher in the Rye, a staple of literature about a boy who doesn't want to grow up. About an hour and change into the movie, we get one of the most important scenes where Wendy finds his manuscript. Notice the typos. All work and no play makes Jack adult boy. Adult. The T and the L are nowhere near each other on a keyboard, on a computer, nor on a typewriter. We're all familiar with the famous elevator scene, which was not in the novel. Now, let's take a look at the floor indicator. Alright, let's switch gears to the poster art that we're all familiar with. Great. In the beginning of the movie, Danny has his first episode and laying on the bear pillow. This is a 1970s ad for the bear pillow. Notice the eyes are round. Now notice the eyes are more sinister in this scene. Point being, these connections are not a mistake or a coincidence. Everything in a Kubrick film is done on purpose and for a reason. See the chair under the sconce with the arrow? They cut to Wendy, then back to Jack, and there's no chair. Not a mistake. After Wendy locks Jack in dry storage, look what's facing the door, exactly in the shot in the background. This is not a mistake. This was deliberately put there. And what is it? Frosted Flakes. This is to suggest that Danny is watching Jack through Tony. Right before Danny's episode, we see Dopey sticker on the door. After his episode, when they're leaving the room, Dopey is now missing from the door, suggesting that Danny has now smartened up. The scrapbook in the immediate left foreground played a huge role in the novel, but was overlooked in the film just because of shooting time. Two key scenes that heavily impacted the ending were actually shot and then deleted from the final cut. The first was a scene where Jack finds a scrapbook in the basement, and then a later scene where Jack shows the scrapbook to Wendy. The scrapbook chronicles events from the hotel's dark past. The photographs set up in the final haunting image of Jack in the 1921 picture. And handwritten, "and they took his balls with them," is a line directly taken from Stephen King's novel. Pretty interesting stuff, huh guys? Well, here it is. In the flesh. Rainman's vision of The Shining, Doughboy Grand Version, or Grand Package as it's known in the hobby. This is the most sought after set in the 1/6 scale hobby. Well, let me rephrase that. This is the most sought after set on the planet Earth. We're going to go over each figure. We'll talk about it. I'm going to bounce around between film analysis and the figures. We're going to learn a lot of stuff today. So sit back and relax. And let me tell you, I've seen pictures of this stuff over the years and videos, and it is nothing like seeing it in hand. This is a true piece of artwork. In the film, when Jack's being interviewed in the very beginning, the Grady twins are actually described as 11 and 8, but Stanley Kubrick chose to cast identical twins. I find that interesting. It's almost like they're one person. They speak in unison, they turn in unison, their bodies are chopped up, they're laying in the same positions, except one's on their stomach and one's on their back. So, are they one person? Is Danny seeing them as two people? It's a little strange, just because they're described as sisters, not twins. But I guess strange is the name of the game in this film. These are just beautiful figures. I believe the hands are sculpted together. They seem to be a more flexible silicone than just hard, usual. One dress seems to be longer than the other. I don't know if that's unusual or everyone's is like that. The roses are sculpted. They're just so intricate. And the dresses are perfect. The hair is different, but I believe the faces are the same. And he was very generous, the artist, because the actual actresses aren't this attractive. So, good job, Rainman. Now their feet are magnetized to this carpet base or some sort of fabric base, which is a great idea because they're very delicate. And when I say very, I mean very delicate. Here's a look at the back. The dress, I really need to fix that. It's sticking out there. But the hair sculpt is really, really impressive. The paint job. In the book, in the novel, the Grady twins are mentioned, but they're never shown. They don't manifest. I think it was a good choice to have them in the film for Danny. It takes a lot to give me chills in a movie, but whenever I see them down the hallway, speaking in unison, I get goosebumps. So besides two of the carpet bases, one magnet for the girls, and one that's not a magnet, more of just a base platform for the tricycle, which Danny sits on. This was created by Robbie Jones, Robbie the painter. Look at that little bell, and it's just fabulous. When I was a kid, we had big wheels. They were similar. They weren't exactly this, and we're talking about like the mid 70s. But this takes place in 1980, so it's a little more modern. But if you don't know who he is, his name's on the bottom. Actually, it says 2015 Jones, but he does all like these incredible accessories, all handmade. He painted this. He's a master. He really is. He's a very impressive artist. All of the sets, the full, the DX, and this grand package come with a 1-to-1 237 key. And this is the COA grand package. If you want to know more about the actual runtime, go see my buddy Stiff Richards. The link is in the description. He talks about the actual run back in 2015. A lot of collectors believe this is the cream of the crop of the set. It's a toss-up. I think all three of the items are equally great in their own way. But Danny, Torrance, played by actor Danny Lloyd. This is just phenomenal. The sculpt, he's so adorable. The tricycle, like we talked about before by Robbie, is amazing. His tailoring is perfect. He's also I think he's wearing the same brand that Jack wears, Lee, Lee. It was like a cheap knockoff of Levi's in the 70s. The paintwork is just so good. The sculpt is so good. Everything works about this character. Robbie included stickers. I think it was 1 to 10, double of each digit, so 2 zeros, 2 ones. If you want, you could put stickers on the front square there. The camera never reveals the front of the tricycle in the film, so it's up to you. The expression he has, it is priceless. It works so well. It works staring out, and it also works like an amazement for the twins. I mean, the back of the head, the sculpt, just really, he knocked it out of the park on this one. So perfect. I actually have mine where he's stopping short, so I have one foot on the pedal and this leg I have on the ground. I thought that was, I don't know, the way you're supposed to do it, I guess. If you like this sort of content, you're enjoying this type of video format, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to stay tuned to the very end because I'm going to discuss Kubrick's alternate ending that he filmed but he never released to the public, and it's quite interesting. Once owned a long time ago the Craft One Shocking Guy, and I'll tell you, Yunsel really got this clothing color right. The boots, the Lee jeans, they're dark, they're supposed to be dark. The fit, it's very sloppy around his ankles, that's how it is in the film. The belt, the axe is humongo, but it doesn't bother me. It's kind of cool, actually. People bitched about the shirt, could care less. She got the color, the muted brick red color of the jacket, absolutely right. Really a great job. She did a great job on the twins' dresses and everything. In the back there you can see the Lee swiggle on the pocket. That's how they were. Rainman did a great job on this paint. I love it. The stubble. It's a very beautiful sculpt. I'm like very proud to own this. I switched out one of the hands to make it a little better, but and I also put something in his shoulders just so his neck didn't look long. I widened his shoulders a little, but it's just an awesome figure. Stanley Kubrick had 3 versions of the ending. Only 2 were filmed. He didn't want to go with Stephen King's cliche horror ending of the hotel exploding, but he always wanted the film to end with the 1921 framed hallway photo of Jack. The alternate filmed ending also had frozen Jack, but there was a hospital scene that was sandwiched in between frozen Jack and the long pan down the hallway to the 1921 photo. In the scene, the hotel manager, Ullman, visits Wendy and Danny in the hospital after their ordeal and explains that no supernatural evidence was found to support their claims that transpired. This is the script. That no body of Jack Torrance was found on the grounds. Just when the audience begins to question everything they've seen, Ullman gives Danny the same ball that was rolled to him from an unseen force outside room 237. Kubrick sort of had it in his mind that Ullman was the ultimate badass that ran the whole hotel and knew everything. This could relate to the red book that was on his table, but to us, the audience, we would never make that connection because the hospital scene was taken out.